Hello students, Jai Guru. Welcome to this third audio lecture on Alexander Pope's The Rape of the Lock. Now since we are dealing with the critical appreciation of the rape of the lock, I quote here few important lines from Canto 3, line numbers 447 to 448. Not louder shrieks to pitying heavens are cast when husbands or lapdogs breathe the last. The satire is on society by Pope. It is also an attack of the emotional insincerity of the people of Pope's age. Here, we find that Pope is practically adverse to women and shows that they are more concerned about lapdogs than husbands, or more about their makeup than genuine relationship. Which also means over here, Pope is equating the fact that for a woman, for a fashionable woman of 18th century, losing their husband was synonymous to losing their lapdogs. So once again we have a very ridiculous but a brilliant juxtaposition of the trivial and the somber. Pope's satire is at times very strong and very aggressive against the feminine excesses and follies of women. He attacks their unstable whimsical nature, mocking attributes their caprice to the sins. And this is from Canto 1, line numbers 99 to 100. With varying vanities from every part, they shift the moving toy shop of their heart. Which again and again Pope satirizes and implicates and puts the blame on female. Also, to criticize women, Pope comes up with the theory that each woman, according to their nature, is turned into a spirit after her death. So for those who believe traditionally that 18th century Augustan satire was a far cry from imagination, it was too superficial, too artificial, and it did not pay any heed to imagination. Also, we find that Pope's desire of writing a mock epic resulted from the ideas of difference between the heroic world of the epic and the fashionable and elite world of his contemporary society. Since he chose to use the epic conventions in a satirical way, he had to follow the important conventions of including the supernatural elements. However, he could not use the gods that were used by Homer or the angels of Milton, because in the 18th century world of reason and enlightenment, such a use would have been too simplicity. So he uses a most imagery and fanciful supernatural machineries, consulting of Silms, norms, etc. And these supernatural elements represented the four elements of soil, air, water, and fire respectively. And also these supernatural machineries added to the beauty of the poem and addressed satire all the more. So we find that in the use of fantastic elements, in the use of supernatural machinery in the form of the salamanders, Pope uses remarkable wit together with a brilliant imagination. A firing women turned into salamanders, the soft yielding minds became nymphs, and the prudes become gnomes, and the coquette turned into sylphs. Incidentally, Ariel, an important figure in the Rape of the Lock, is a sylph who is also the guardian angel of Belinda, who is also in charge of protecting Belinda's purity and chastity from the opposite sex. Pope uses his sharp wit and irony and humor to satirize a highly mannered society, yet he never expressed any revolution or revulsion or disgust. So, though he criticizes the fanciful 18th century, he dilutes the sharp edges of satire with his genial toe. He might be suggestive, he might be directive and aggressive at times, but never in his aggression does he loses his hold on humor, ridicule, and wit, and that is why, essentially, from all the lines of the Rape of the Lock, we can derive that wit and that humor which makes it not only a very pleasant read satirically but also an exceptionally beautifully read aesthetically. Thank you.